Gym Makers presents the Beyond Brilliant broadcast, where we empower ladies and leaders to shine in their brilliant zone. Join your hosts, Dr. Nicole Steele and Dr. DeYonne Parker, as they share their secrets to help you gain clarity, build confidence, and unleash your courage. If you're ready to get connected, gain insight, spark your creativity, be inspired, and embrace your brilliance, grab a pen and a friend, and let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Brilliant, where we empower ladies and leaders to gain the clarity, confidence, and courage to shine in their brilliant zone, honey. I'm Dr. DeYonne Parker, the Courage Catalyst, and I'm that hand on your back that pushes you outside of your comfort zone all the way into your courage zone. And you know I am always rocking with the ever fabulous Dr. Nicole Steele, and she's going to tell you who she is.
Yes, I am Dr. Nicole Steele, the confidence coach, and I am that voice in your ear reminding you of who and whose you are. Oh my goodness, Dr. D. Yes. We are rolling into International Women's Month, and we have an amazing guest that I can't wait for our Beyond Brilliant audience to meet. So why don't you do the honors?
I'm so grateful to introduce you to this beautiful vessel that's going to be dropping some gems on y'all today. I have had the pleasure of having a great conversation with her. And let me just tell you once again, if you don't know how to connect out there on LinkedIn, you need to, because that's how this beautiful vessel, Jenna Banks, and I met. So let me welcome Jenna to the show, but I have to tell you a little bit about who she is, and then she's going to tell you who she is, okay? Jenna Banks, honey, welcome to the show. She is an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, author, speaker, and a self-love advocate. She is amazing. She is about to drop her brand new book on March 8th. Yes, International Women's Day. And it is entitled, I Love Me More, How to Find Happiness and Success Through Self-Love. She has an incredible story, and I'm not going to do any justice to it because I want her to tell you all about who she is, what her story is. And so without further ado, Jenna Banks, girl, welcome.
Thank you so much, ladies, for that very warm welcome. You guys are so awesome. I love you so much. Thank you for that.
Well, we love you, and we can't wait to hear from you and share you with our viewing audience. And so we're going to jump right in because we don't want to waste any time. We're going to jump right in. So the first thing I'd love for you to do is to tell our listeners a little bit about who you are. Who is Jenna Banks?
Well, you gave a really wonderful, warm intro. So thank you so much for that. Very, very flattering. What you told was the story of basically where I am today. And I'll give you a little background as to how I got there, which might surprise some people. It wasn't all peaches and cream and roses, let me tell you. In fact, I had a very traumatic childhood, left one home at the age of 14 and to another home that was also quite traumatic, mentally abusive, and was basically on my own at the age of 16. Ended up being suicidal. I really had a death wish. I wanted to die, and I wasn't going to be happy until I succeeded in that wish. And so on my third attempt, I ended up in the hospital in a coma, had my stomach pumped. Thankfully, I did survive that and went on to, I ended up being a single mom, pregnant at 19, married at 19, single mom at 22. And so you would think that all the cards were kind of stacked against me, right? I had to get my high school equivalency diploma, so my GED. Couldn't stick through high school. I was bouncing around so much. And I really was in a place of feeling unworthy, unvaluable, just really no connection with who I was, and really had been raised to people please, right? Look to other people for my worth and my value. I didn't know my own worth and my own value. And it, since I was on my own at such a very young age and divorced at the age of 22, I really started doing a lot of internal work and figuring things out on my own. I was I didn't have family around me to influence me. So I started connecting spiritually. Now, mind you, I was raised in a Christian home. So I went to Christian school. I knew the Bible backward and forward and all of that. But, I had to find my own way. And so I did that. And I did that through connecting with my own spirit and myself, and ended up being able to overcome all of that, overcome my suicidal tendencies, to learn to really love myself, value myself, learn how important it is to give ourselves our own love, and to accept ourselves, know that we're worthy, beautiful children of God, each and every one of us. We're magnificent, we're precious, we're beautiful just as we are. We don't have to change a thing. We are beautiful children of God. And just to know that and give ourselves our own love was so transformational for me. And I knew I had a message to share, and was able to impact some people in my life, and decided it was time to write a book and share with the rest of the world.
We're gonna get all the way in there, but we're gonna unpack what she has just said. Dr. Nicole, I know you chomping at the bit to get to this story.
You know it.
Yes.
So powerful.
Yeah.
So I know there's so many questions that I have. I'm just amazed that the very thing that the enemy meant to destroy you. And first of all, let me just thank you for your honesty and transparency. I mean, the word of our testimony is so powerful. And I am so excited about your book and the lives that it's going to impact and the people that it's going to set free. Because for many people that find themselves in those spaces, they feel like they're the only ones, that there is no hope. But here you are on the other side, triumphant, and using that very painful situation for God's glory. So thank you so much.
You heard from this incredible woman, Jenna Banks, author of I Love Me More. She is an amazing woman. She has an incredible story, very vulnerable and transparent way of sharing it. And we want to dive a little bit deeper into this book, some of the insights that she wants us to get out of it. And honey, again, if you don't have your pen and a friend, I'm so sorry. You had your opportunity. So let's get into this. Jenna, you wrote this amazing book, again, called I Love Me More, How to Find Happiness and Success Through Self-Love. And it drops on March 8th. You had the nerve to drop this on us March 8th on International Women's Day. I want to ask, why was it so important for you to write this book right now?
Oh, good question. Well, I have been an avid reader of self-development books, personal development, personal growth, and spiritual texts since a couple of decades now. So it's a big part of who I am. And, I'd never come across a book, especially for women, about the incredible importance of self-love. And it dawned on me as I contemplated writing this book about how amazingly important it is to truly understand that we need to receive our own love, that it is our duty, our gift and our duty to receive our own love. And if you really, I had this epiphany that, we hear all the time that God is love, right? And when I was a kid, I thought that meant, God was this human form, authoritative figure who represented love in some way. It just never connected for me. But to realize really what that means, that God is love, to me, it then meant also love is God. And to receive our own love is to receive God. So I think that's why it was important today.
I almost went around this room to contain myself.
Yes.
Yes, and yes, and more yes. Dr. Nicole, I know you have a question that you want to
I do. So, it took a lot of courage and a lot of confidence to own your own story. And here at Beyond Brilliant and at Gym Makers, our 3C Master Model centers around clarity, confidence, and courage. My question to you is, what do you think holds women back from speaking their truth and sharing their story as transparently as you have done?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think there's a lot of shame that comes into our stories. Like, right, for example, I write about this in the book about the power of owning your story. I personally lived that out. I hid from a very shameful story. I had obviously a lot of trauma growing up and a lot to overcome, including having a GED. And that was one of my most shameful stories, just because I was very career oriented and I wanted to go as far as I could. And I let this story of only having a GED kind of have a grip on me. And in a way, it had a power over me, but it was my power. I was giving this story my power. And it absolutely just impacted my feeling of worthiness and value when it came to interaction with other people who had higher degrees. Even as I moved up through corporate, here I am hiring people with bachelor's and master's, sometimes PhDs. And I just felt like I wasn't worthy somehow. And I had to turn that story around. I really realized how much power it had over me. And I thought, what would happen if I started to own that? And wow, was that freeing? It was like this huge weight lifted over. And then I just started owning it hard, right? Like, it's part of my story. And part of my story is overcoming these obstacles. So really made me realize that we can either give our power over to these really shameful stories, or we can own it, whether you had a past prison sentence, which I've talked to people who've learned to claim their power through their owning that story, or whether, it was something more severe like molestation as a child or something like that. Those stories can have so much power over us. But when you can turn that around and own it hard and just accept that part of you because it's not going away, there's so much power in that.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And one thing that we teach and share with our community is, when God brings us through on the other side, as he's done for you, for me, for Dr. D, it's not about us. He brings us through so that we can help someone else back there on the other side who's thinking again, I can't make it. I can't do it. There is no hope for me. So again, I applaud you. And I hope that any of the viewers who are sitting there who have been paralyzed by the truth of your story, if you've been imprisoned by choices, mistakes, maybe things that were even outside of your control, and the enemy has silenced you, has muffled your voice, I hope that you can dig deep with God's help, like Jenna did, and be empowered and own your story. There's nothing like it.
I love it how Jenna says, own your story hard.
Yes.
I love that. Jenna, when you said that to me the very first time when we met and shared our stories, it really resonates with me. And when we talk about, your story is from trauma, my story is from trauma. And we talk about trauma having tentacles and taking root in our lives. And we just don't even know how far it goes, right? And all of a sudden we find ourselves in this shame game, and we don't allow ourselves to say, you know what, that was a part of my journey and it shaped me. And what I see in you and what you've discussed in the book is giving us permission to do just that, and turning the light back on and saying, you know what, I have to accept the love of God. I have to accept myself because I am love. I radiate love. And if I don't love me, how do I expect anybody else to love me? And so I saw, I was all over your website. Again, stalking you in love. And so there's so many powerful nuggets that you have shared. And again, if you all haven't gone to her website, we'll have your details as well, so you can go check her out. But I want, when we come back from this break, I want us to be able to hear from you about insights that you share in the book. If you wouldn't mind giving us like a sneak peek, or like maybe 3 insights that you share that would allow our viewing audience to walk away with that. And I definitely want you to talk about the word powerful, because that Jenna has her own definition of that. So we'll be coming right back. Again, please go get your pen and a friend. And if you missed any part of this, go back and rewind and look at it again. We can't wait for you to hear more of this powerful vessel story. Jenna Banks. See you in a minute.
Are you looking to start that new business, create new strategies, or stretch beyond where you are right now? Well, look no further. Gem Makers LLC is a coaching and consulting company committed to empowering ladies, leaders, and little girls. Through our creative content, coaching, conferences, and brilliant community, we'll help you develop the necessary skills to not only achieve your goals, but to sustain them. If you're ready to go after your big dreams, accomplish your big goals, and soar to the next level, contact the Gem Makers team today and let us help you get there.
Welcome back, you gorgeous people. We are super excited to have you back to a great episode, a great conversation with the amazing and brilliant, yes, brilliant beauty, Miss Jenna Banks. We're going to jump back into this conversation with Miss Jenna. And Jenna, before the break, we wanted to talk to you about things that you share in the book. And if you wouldn't mind giving us 3 insights, I know it's hard, but 3 insights, because there's so much, that our viewing audience can walk away with, that comes from your book, I Love Me More.
Well, I took the opportunity when you asked me that to go ahead and bookmark a few pages and pull them right out of the book itself. So the first one that I bookmarked is letting go of perfectionism. Perfectionism is actually a limiting belief, as I'm sure both of you know, but I didn't actually know that until many years ago, that perfection is actually the fear of not being perfect. Again, it goes back to that not feeling worthy or valuable enough unless everything is just perfect. And it really is a syndrome that mostly plagues women, unfortunately. So if we can learn to just let go of perfectionism, that we don't have to be perfect in order to be acceptable, that is such a gift of self-love. You know, I've learned that 80% is good enough, right? We always want to do our best, and it's important to do your best, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So if you can just go with the 80% is good enough rule, you'll give yourself a lot of self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, and self-compassion, which is a very loving gift to give ourselves. Another one that I bookmarked for easy, forgiveness. Now that is also another really important part of self-love. Now there's 2 sides of forgiveness. There's forgiving others and also forgiving yourself. You know, we can carry around these grudges against other people, thinking that we feel justified in carrying these grudges, like they did me really wrong. I deserve to feel badly about this and be angry about this. But the truth is, the only person that really gets hurt when you don't forgive is yourself. And it really messes with your sense of peace. And so when you forgive, it really just brings peace to your soul and is a very loving gift to give to yourself. And the same applies when it comes to forgiving ourselves. You know, we make mistakes, but we don't need to beat ourselves up over and over again. Learn the lesson, move on, give yourself compassion and forgiveness. And actually, there's science and data around this that I also include in the book, along with all my stories, that say that when we practice self-forgiveness and self-compassion, we actually get out of this stressful fight or flight mode, which tends to lower our immune system and open us up for disease. So we're actually doing something healthy for ourselves and our bodies when we can practice self-forgiveness. And the last one has to do with being kind to your body. It's another issue that mostly plagues women, but it certainly plagues some men as well. We tend to, if we fall out of line with our weight goals, or let's say we're aging and we see some wrinkles popping up, we tend to hate on our bodies, and we think that that's normal, this critical kind of self-talk, which, goes to our inner voice, but also it can affect our outer body as well. And when we can learn to just be kind to not only our internal dialogue and give ourselves, cheerlead ourselves on and look for that inner cheerleader instead of the inner critic, that's it's so beneficial to our self-love practice, but also to our bodies as well. And sometimes it's really hard to start with, let's say, loving our weight where it is, but if you can just start with something simple that is truthful and honest for you, like your fingernails, start with where you're at and let it grow from there, because the feeling that you'll get from giving yourself your own love and affection, it's unbelievable. Trust me on that one.
I love it. I love it. This is so powerful for women and girls of all ages. I just think, Dr. D, about the work that we do with young girls. And I know it is our organization's mission to help instill exactly what Jenna is teaching at a young age. And can you imagine that if young girls could grasp it, what their life could be like? I mean, it's unimaginable how freeing their lives could be. So if there's anyone who's listening, I encourage you, if you're a mother out there, a grandmother, an aunt, go ahead and get the book for yourself. And as you take in all of the pages and begin to model what self-love looks like, I guarantee you those little eyes around you are watching, and they'll be taking notes and be able to apply it to their lives too.
That's absolutely right, Dr. Nicole. And I want Jenna to, not only did she just drop some powerful gems on us there, but I also want her to talk about the word powerful and her definition of that. She had the nerve to redefine powerful. So Jenna, would you tell us what your meaning of powerful is and what you'd like for us to get from that?
Yeah, I know you like to ask your guests, what's your one word? And I know we had this discussion before, Dr. D. My word is powerful. I say I am powerful, and it feels great. Unfortunately, a lot of women, most women, through research, I found we are averse to the idea of being powerful, or even claiming the word power. We tend to see it as a masculine trait, something kind of negative, as in having power over other people or manipulating others. And we need to redefine what being powerful actually is for a woman, so that we can, without any fear or hesitation, readily claim, I am powerful. So for me, redefining what powerful is for a woman is we need to be full of our own power. Now, I have this saying, which is, your love is your power. We've talked about this in the episode today about loving ourselves and giving ourselves our own love. When we do that, we fill up what I call our power container with our own love, instead of freely giving it away without value, as many of us have been conditioned to do. So when we can fill up with our own power, we can feel powerful, and it has nothing to do with power over other people. And guess what happens when you're actually in a place of being powerful? You have more love to give to everyone else. So it is completely the opposite of what we may think it is. Like, oh, it's conceited, narcissistic, selfish. No. Let me tell you, when you are powerful, as in full of your own love and power, you're bursting with love, and you give so much to everyone else around you. Everyone benefits when you're powerful.
Wow. I love it. My container is full.
I love that redefinition. How powerful.
Awesome. My goodness.
Yes.
What a gift today, Dr. Nicole, that we had with Jenna.
I know.
Jenna, thank you so much for being on the show. And we're going to go to our brilliant blessing in just a second. We want to, before we go, can you tell people how to plug into you?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Where they can find the book.
Yeah, so the easiest way is just to go to my website, which is jenna-banks.com. You'll find links to everything you need there. There are links to pre-order the book right now, which releases on March 8th. But if you place your pre-order now, I've got some fun freebies for you as well, including an after party on March 8th. It'll be virtual, so you're invited to that. If you pre-order, you get that VIP ticket. I also have some other freebies, like a really lovely playlist, which I was sharing with Dr. Nicole and Dr. D earlier. It's the I Love Me More playlist. It's free for you. There's links to it on Spotify or Apple Music, and it's almost 40 empowering self-love songs that'll really get you pumped up for your day and really help reinforce some of the messages that I include in the book.
Love it. Thank you so much, Jenna.
Thank you for having me, ladies. It was such a lovely conversation, and I love what you both are doing. Thank you so much.
You're amazing. Dr. Nicole, bring us home to that brilliant blessing, girl.
Yes. So for those that are tuning in for the first time, we like to close out our show with what we call our brilliant blessing, which is basically just the word of God. There's so much power in his word. And if we hide it in our heart and we live by it and gain wisdom by it, our lives will forever be changed. But I have a scripture that I think really applies to all of us here. And it's a simple one. It's in Romans chapter 8, and it is verse 28. And of course, I didn't put my readers on, so I'm going to do a little squinting. But it says, and we know that all things work for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And I wanted to leave with that because, again, all things work together. Jenna, everything, every adversity, every obstacle, every horrific thing that you experience right now is working together for your good. Here you're able again to take those painful moments and put it in the pages of your book. And we cannot wait to be witnesses of all of the lives that it will transform. I know that's my story. That's Dr. D's story. And if you are listening, know as well that God's not a respecter of person. So whatever you have gone through or maybe going through right now, he can work it all together for your good. So that's the brilliant blessing.
I love it, Dr. Nicole. You always bring it, honey, and bless us all. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Our phenomenal guest, Jenna Banks. And again, if you have not connected with the Beyond Brilliant Network, get on out there. What are you waiting for? Join our wonderful community where we will empower you to gain the clarity, confidence, and courage that you need to shine in your brilliant zone. Yet again, we'd like to leave you with this, as we always say, be bold,
be brave, and be
brilliant.
Bye.
For more information, show ideas, or to be a guest on our show, please visit www.beyondbrilliantbroadcast.com.